I'll just like...
Hi, everyone.
Hi! This is my sister Kate. She has agreed to help me with my intro because I just got this book from the library. I think it's called the Unauthorized Quiz Book to Star Trek or something. And she's going to read me like a section of the questions. I'm going to answer them. And then for the outro, I'm going to read some of these and then you guys can answer in the comments or something and then I'll give the answers in the next video or something fun like that. Alright, you ready?
Okay, which season should we start with?
I don't care. Not the first one. We already did the first one.
What about season 4?
Okay.
I think that's 4, yeah. Okay. Oh no, this is the wrong... This is not the next generation.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I need my next generation.
Here it is. Okay.
Okay.
We'll go with the 4th season.
That's good. I like that one.
Okay, this one's easy. When Picard was made into a Borg, what was he called?
Locutus.
That is correct.
Yes.
Okay, this one's more difficult. Name Worf's adoptive Earth parents.
Oh, it's something. The last name is Roshenko. I don't know. I don't know what their first names are.
Their names are Serge and Helena. I can't even pronounce their names.
But it's Roshenko, right?
No.
What?
Oh
yeah.
Okay, that's their last
I
name.
don't want to look at it because I have like the rest of the answers.
Okay, what is Data's pet cat name?
Spot.
Yes.
I recited that poem for one of the intros.
Okay, here's a good one.
Okay.
Alright. Kill, Cliff, or Mary?
No, is that one? What?
Picard.
You just made that up.
Worf.
Or
Riker. Alright, so it wasn't a question. Alright.
Because I mean the answer's obvious.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. So just out of curiosity, what would you choose?
Well, I would have to kill Worf.
Seriously?
Well, no, I don't know. I don't want to answer this. This is making me uncomfortable.
Okay. Alright. As a security officer, she has a romantic relationship with Data.
Tasha,
Yeah, I know their
Wait,
relationship
why is
was
that?
romantic.
Were they like dating at one
Oh
time?
yeah, that's right. It was implied.
Well, I gave it.
like,
It was more than
yeah,
that.
I guess. Well, when I was like 10 and I watched it, I really get that part
I
of
didn't
the
understand
show.
anything.
Okay. Let's see. Should we move on to the 6th season?
Okay.
What famous author does Picard meet in Time's Arrow?
Mark Twain.
Samuel Clemens.
Same thing.
That was
his
his
pen name.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Because he was like really annoying.
I forgot about that. What crew member turns into a Romulan? I don't remember this.
Deanna got turned into one, like, briefly.
Yeah.
For one
I
episode.
remember that episode.
She, like, got kidnapped. She's a member of the Tal Shiar.
I forgot about that. Okay. I'm trying to find a good one. In what century does the action on the show take place?
24.
It's an odd way of phrasing it.
Wait. It's the 24th century, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's like the 2300s.
Yeah.
I always get this one. I get that confused.
I do
Okay.
too. We're gonna skip back to the 5th season.
Whoa.
Name the Borg boy rescued by the
Oh,
Emperor.
it was Hugh.
Yeah.
I liked Hugh.
Did he die?
No, he came back in that 2-parter with
Oh,
Lore.
yeah.
And then he like was like going to like lead the Borg on like a revolution.
He was like angry and hateful
Yeah.
after that though. He's like,
Because
he's like there was
mad.
order and then there was chaos.
Yeah, he's like, this is what you did to them.
Yeah.
I like
How
him.
old was Sarek when he died?
I don't know.
He
Like
was
old, because like Spock was old.
He was 203.
Uh,
She is a botanist aboard the Enterprise and married O'Brien.
Keiko.
Yes.
I don't know what her like original like surname was.
I don't either.
Move my glasses over here.
Okay.
Just so you know.
The Enterprise attempts to save an enclosed biosphere on this planet from collision with a stellar core fragment.
Wait, what? I don't even remember that episode.
The Enterprise attempts to save an enclosed biosphere on this planet from collision with a stellar core fragment.
I don't remember any biospheres or like Moab 4.
Yeah.
We should probably cut this off
Alright.
because like I don't want it to go too long.
Oh, you're gonna read? Do you want me to read some more for the next time?
Okay.
And you're answering.
Yeah,
them?
just go through a list of them and read the questions. Well, actually, I was gonna do that for the outro,
Okay.
but you can guest star again sometime.
Alright. It was nice.
This is
meeting
Kate.
everyone.
I'm sure they will all love you.
Okay.
And yeah, that's about it. She'll probably be on later to like review episodes with me and stuff now that I'm home.
Yeah. Alright.
Okay, we're gonna end
Alright,
that now.
turn it off now.
Engage.
So that was my sister Kate, and she'll probably be on more videos in the future because she really likes Star Trek too, and she'll probably be reviewing episodes or something with me. But today I am going to read you Chapter 4, A Rock in a Hard Place. And I don't know if you guys watched last week's video with Chapter 3, and what I've actually done is I've actually already recorded Chapter 4 because I recorded 3 and 4 at the same time, and it was too long to put up as one video, so I split it into 2, and I'm finally getting around to uploading this one. But I hope you guys enjoy it, and the plot is actually moving along now. It got past all the beginning stuff, and I think we're actually to the point where the next chapter we're gonna really get like into the main plot, and Riker is finally gonna get to his planet, and we're gonna get Stone kind of interacting with people on the ship. So I'm excited about that because I haven't read any further than you guys will have heard after this video. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it. The first words out of Borgia's mouth were, "I'm sorry." Picard had gone down to meet Borgia when he beamed over. He had not seen Andrew Borgia for quite some time, and he was surprised by how haggard his old friend seemed now. The apology had been simultaneous with his stepping off the platform, as if he were concerned that Picard wouldn't let him on the ship if he didn't apologize. Picard blinked in surprise, even as he shook Borgia's hand. "You're sorry, Andy? Good Lord, what for?" "For dragging you into this. I can assure you that if I had ever known Starfleet was sticking you with that nut, I'd never have requested his transfer. I'd have just put him in the transporter and set it on maximum dispersal." "Andy!" Picard was shocked. Borgia was as peace-loving as individual as Picard had ever known. Such talk for him was wildly out of character. It was also potentially damaging. Picard noticed that O'Brien, naturally, was all ears. The last thing Picard needed was advance word of a maverick first officer spreading through the ship. "Let's discuss it in my quarters," said Picard. "Tea? No, you take coffee. Light, no sugar. Decaffeinated. My nerves are shot enough as it is." Within moments, Borgia was sipping the coffee with delicacy and glancing around Picard's quarters in admiration. "Some setup you got here." "I feel like I hardly spend any time in it," Picard admitted. He sat down across from Borgia, eyebrows arched, waiting for Borgia to say something. Nothing was forthcoming, however, and at length Picard offered, "So this man has been giving you problems." "Problems? Nothing but. He is unreasonable, stubborn, and insubordinate. Those are very serious charges. Are you saying he actually disobeys orders?" "Yes. Well," and he amended it, "not exactly." "Andy," Picard said slowly, trying to understand, "this shouldn't be a difficult question. Either he disobeys orders, or he doesn't." "I can't deal with him, Jean-Luc," said Borgia desperately, spilling some of the coffee. Picard quickly produced a cloth to clean it up. "On an exploratory ship like the Nimitz, every officer needs to be a team player. He's not a team player. At least not on my team. He's totally self-directed." Picard nodded. It went without saying that on the Enterprise, indeed, on any starship, Stone would have to be a team player as well. "Would you mind," Picard said, "if I brought him over here, so we could all discuss matters? I'm not taking him back, Jean-Luc. As bad as I feel about your getting stuck with him, I'm not taking him back." Picard held up rested a hand soothingly on Borgia's shoulder. "I'm not saying you have to. Starfleet's wishes were quite specific, and I, of course, shall honor them. I would hope, however, that if we have the opportunity to bring things out in the open beforehand, we could perhaps avoid some of the mishaps that led to the breakdown in communication." "Fine." He tapped his communicator. "Borgia to Nimitz." "Nimitz," came the crisp reply. "Nielsen here. Have Commander Stone beamed aboard the Enterprise." As Borgia issued orders to his own ship, Picard contacted the bridge. Lieutenant Worf, our temporary replacement for Mr. Riker, will be coming aboard. Please greet him at the main transporter room and escort him to my quarters. Yes, sir. I hope your man can handle him, said Borgia cautiously. Stone can be something of a wild man. In that case, Worf is just the one for the job, replied Picard, smiling slightly. Worf waited in the transporter room with mild impatience and annoyance. He had not liked seeing Riker leave. Receiving the signal, said O'Brien, in his most businesslike voice. Energize, said Worf. Within moments, the sparkling had faded, and Quentin Stone stood on the platform, glancing around. He seemed to be taking in everything and then mentally filing it away for possible future reference. His gaze got to Worf and stopped dead. They stared at each other. Then Stone said, I didn't know this was a Klingon ship. I am the only one, rumbled Worf. I see. He paused, as if collecting his thoughts. And how did a Klingon come to serve aboard a starship? I might ask the same of you. Stone smiled, but the smile did not touch his eyes. He stuck out a hand as he stepped off the platform. Commander Quentin Stone. Lieutenant Worf. He took Stone's hand and shook it firmly. A pleasure to be working with you, Lieutenant, said Stone calmly. You strike me as an officer I can respect. Worf released his grip. Thank you, said Worf. Stone appeared satisfied with whatever he had wanted to see in the transporter room. I assume your captain wants to see me. He requested I bring you to his quarters. Ah, I believe Captain Borgia is there as well. Ah. He smiled again, and this time it did touch his eyes. For some reason, Worf found this less pleasant than before. We should not keep him waiting. Borgia had finished his coffee and was nervously pacing Picard's quarters. Maybe, he said upon reflection, it's not too late to halt this whole thing. I'm afraid it is, said Picard. Commander Riker has already been dropped off at Starbase 42, where his team has been assembled, and a transport ship is to bring them to the terraforming planet. The hole is already there in my command structure. Certainly you have officers who could fill that hole. Oh, quite capably, I assure you. Well then, Borgia gestured as if that would be the end of the discussion. That was not Starfleet's request, however, Picard reminded him. Borgia sighed heavily just as the door sounded. Come, Picard called out. The door hissed open and Stone stood there, arms behind his back in traditional parade rest stance. Worf was visible behind him. Thank you, Lieutenant, said Picard. I believe we can handle things from here. The remark was intended for Worf, but Picard looked at Borgia as he said it. Borgia blanched slightly, clearly displeased. The door hissed shut. Stone walked in slowly, and Picard realized that it wasn't just slowness, it was caution. Despite the fact that he was entering the cabin of a commanding officer on a starship, Stone was taking absolutely nothing for granted. He was entering a strange place and was assuming there could be a trap. Overcautious? Paranoid even? Then again, Picard recalled the events involving parasitic invaders that had usurped the bodies of Starfleet personnel. When dealing with the unknown every minute of your life, caution was mandatory. But where did one draw the line between healthy and unhealthy concern? Stone's gaze flickered in the direction of the connecting rooms that comprised the rest of Picard's quarters. He couldn't see into them, but was clearly making the internal snap judgment that all was fine. Finally, he looked at Picard and nodded. Captain, he said with the slightest of bows. Then he glanced at Borgia and performed the exact same movement and repeated, Captain. Picard was quiet for a long moment. Letting silence hang would be an excellent indicator of personality. A nervous, defensive type of person would feel the need to fill up the silence with words, as if afraid to give another person time to think. Stone said absolutely nothing. He merely waited, calmly. Picard got the impression that they could have remained that way for an hour. Stone's face was expressionless. It was Borgia who broke the silence. Aren't you going to say something to your new commanding officer, Stone? He demanded. Stone looked at him blandly. I already did, sir. Yes, quite right, said Picard. He glanced at Borgia, who seemed to be steeling himself, and then said, Do you know why you're being transferred to the Enterprise, Commander? Starfleet orders, sir. And do you know what prompted those orders? Stone did not appear remotely interested. I would not presume to second-guess Starfleet, sir. Borgia snorted disdainfully. When was the last time you cared about rules, Stone? Demanded Borgia. Always, was the calm reply. Captain Borgia feels, Picard interjected, deciding that nothing would be gained by pussyfooting around, that you have nothing but disdain for regulation in general and for him in particular. Now this is an open forum. Nothing goes beyond these doors. I ask you to speak freely with no concern about recriminations. How do you perceive Captain Borgia? Borgia gave Picard a look that said, "Here it comes." "I think Captain Borgia has done a capable job," said Stone. Borgia's jaw dropped. If it were 2 inches lower, it would have hit the floor. "He has carried out his duties in accordance with regulations, and his personal behavior and conduct have been beyond reproach." Stone raised an eyebrow and added, "I'm sorry to be blunt, but that's how I feel." "You are incredible," exploded Borgia, "to stand there and pretend that you don't think I'm incompetent." Picard couldn't believe what he was seeing. Borgia was one of the calmest, most level-headed individuals he knew, and here he was, well, as crazed as he accused Stone of being. "I know what you're doing," said Borgia. "You're trying to make me seem crazy while you stand there, the picture of calm. But it won't work. You're not fooling me." Picard looked from one to the other. He harumphed loudly. "Captain Borgia, perhaps now would be a good time for you to go back to your ship. We both have our respective assignments." Borgia looked as if he had been slapped. "Jean-Luc, you can't be falling for this. You can't be taking his side." "I'm taking no one's side. I am simply trying to do my job." Picard felt like the only sane man in the room. Borgia suddenly seemed seized by inspiration. "Stone, show him your hand. That's an order." "Which hand, sir?" "You know damned well which one. The right one." Stone obediently held out his hand, palm down. "Turn it over." "Captain, this has gone on far enough," began Picard in exasperation. Without a word, Stone turned his hand over, and immediately Borgia pointed and said, "See, look at that, Jean-Luc. He did that to annoy me." Picard looked in surprise at the thin scars that crisscrossed Stone's hand. "How did that happen, Commander?" Stone shrugged. "A glass broke in my hand, sir. Not much to tell." "Not much to tell?" Borgia's voice went up an octave. "He did it on purpose so he could go to sickbay rather than to the brig." Stone's mouth twitched. "Sir, if that's what you wish to believe, I will certainly not contradict you." "You see, Jean-Luc, you see?" "Thank you, Captain Borgia. We will speak again." Borgia stood there with his mouth hanging open. Then, almost as an afterthought, he closed it again. He looked frigidly at Picard and said stiffly, "Thank you, Captain Picard. A pleasure, as always. Enjoy your new second-in-command." He squared his shoulders and walked stiffly out of Picard's office. Picard watched him go and then turned towards Stone. Stone eyed him innocently, and Picard gestured for him to sit. Picard sat as well, the desk between them. The Enterprise captain steepled his fingers and looked at Stone appraisingly. "I'm not certain what just went on in here," Picard said slowly, "but Andrew Borgia is a good man. He claims that you bear watching. Starfleet agrees. Would you agree?" "Of course," replied Stone. "Why?" "Everyone bears watching. Anyone could crack any time." Not people who have gone through Starfleet training," said Picard flatly. "Training." Stone talked to Picard, but his attention seemed elsewhere. "Training to face the unknown. But if they're facing the unknown, they can't know what they're training for. Any time." He snapped his fingers. "Just like that." "I don't agree," replied Picard. Stone shrugged. "The ones who are the most confident are the first ones to crack. You are, of course, accepting yourself." "No," said Stone. "Then how do you explain your own confidence?" There was a thoughtful pause. "Perhaps I've cracked already," said Stone. Picard stood and slowly walked around the desk, arms behind his back. Stone did not follow him with his gaze, but continued to stare straight ahead. "You saved some men on a planet," he said at length. "Yes." "Ignoring your captain's orders." "The captain did not say I couldn't take out a shuttlecraft." Picard stopped in mid-step and turned toward Stone. "Did he say you could?" "No." "What did he say?" "He was occupied with departing the area. I didn't wish to interrupt him, so I took it upon myself." "Meaning you didn't ask, since you knew he would say no." "I don't know what he would have said," replied Stone. Each word frozen as ice, Picard said, "You had a hunch." "I don't like hunches. They're messy. Like leaving crewmen behind." He turned and for the first time fixed Picard with a direct stare. "That's messy, too." Picard leaned over, putting one hand on the back of Stone's chair, the other on his desk. He was now leaning over Stone, face practically in the commander's face. "What counts on this ship," he said tightly, "is communication. That should be simple enough. You have a communicator on your uniform at all times. It's there for a reason." Stone looked at it with no overt interest, and Picard continued. "If you have a plan, you clear it. A question, you ask it. A thought, you voice it. I am open at all times to any suggestions. This ship, this crew, is a unit, and will function as one. Is that clear?" "Yes, sir." said Stone. The notion that something can be done because it has not been expressly forbidden is a childish one. I will not tolerate it from my first officer. Is that clear? Stone still did not look especially cowed or in awe. If anything, he seemed a bit bored. Yes, sir, he said again. Picard stepped back. You have been sent here as a learning experience. It will be an honor, sir. Picard wasn't sure whether Stone was being sarcastic or not. What do you mean by that? Nothing more than what I said, Captain. I see, Picard said, a note of annoyance in his voice. Very well, Commander. I'll have your personal belongings beamed aboard and see that you're assigned quarters. Shortly thereafter, I will have a general meeting to introduce you to my key personnel. That will be all. Yes, sir. Stone stood and started towards the door. Just as it slid open, Picard said, Stone. Stone turned. Commander Riker was a very popular figure on this ship. He will not be easily replaced, even temporarily. You will be under a magnifying glass. Thank you for the warning, said Stone diffidently. Good luck with your tenure on the Enterprise. Stone walked out of the captain's quarters. As the doors hissed shut behind his new first officer, Picard could not help but feel the first pangs of concern. Riker had indeed left very large shoes to fill. Alright, and that is the end of Chapter 4. So, hopefully next week I can get to 5 and 6. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read 10 questions on here. And I'm going to do it from the second season, just because I picked that one at random. And then you guys can leave your answers in the comments or whatever, or just think about it. The people walking by. And then next video, or the video after that, I'm going to go through and read you guys the answers, and you can see how you did. So this is actually a really nifty little book. I really like it. I like it better than this other book that I have where it's like automated, and it just picks a question at random. But this one's actually a lot cooler. Okay. What was the name of the computer-generated, self-aware life form created accidentally by the holodeck? 2. In which star system does the Enterprise make first contact with a Borg spacecraft? 3. An alien plant seriously injures Commander William Riker on this planet. 4. Name the judge who ruled that Data is a life form and therefore has the same civil rights as any human. 5. Guinan, played by comedian Whoopi Goldberg, is the hostess of which lounge aboard the USS Enterprise? 6. He replaced Tasha Yar as Chief Security Officer of the Enterprise. 7. Which doctor replaces Beverly Crusher as the Chief Medical Officer of the Enterprise? 8. Under whose command and on what ship did Geordi LaForge serve with prior to Picard in the Enterprise? 9. To which Klingon ship in the Federation is Riker temporarily assigned? And 10. With which Klingon emissary did Lieutenant Worf have an affair and a child? So that is second season questions. So, you guys can think about that or leave your answers in the comments or whatever. And then I'll give you guys the answers next video. So thanks for watching.